Linear equations. Linear equations are straight line equations. These are the most commonly used equations, and the ability to understand what they show and how equations are derived are important. Linear equations are simple straight line or linear equations that have a simple variable expressions, which means that there are no exponents or square roots in them. If you see an equation with only x and y, as opposed to x squared or the square root of y, then you are dealing with a straight line equation. The most useful form of the straight line equation is called the slope-intercept form. Why the slope-intercept form? Is because it has a slope and crosses or cuts the y-x axis. The equation of a linear equation is y equals mx plus c. M is the slope and c gives the y-intercept. Defining each aspect of the equation: y, how far up, x, how far along, m, slope or gradient, and c, the y-intercept. Graphically, we have the x-axis, which represents how far along. We have the y-axis, which represents how far up. We then have a straight line. M is the slope or gradient of the straight line. The slope is calculated by the change in y, which means y of 0.1 minus y of 0.2, divided by the x at 0.1 minus the x at 0.2. Now it does not matter whether you use 0.1 or 0.2 first. That is, you could say y at 0.2 minus y at 0.1. But if you do so, you must be consistent with the x points as well. That is, ensure that you use the x at 0.2 first if you have done so with y. C is the point at which the straight line cuts or crosses the y-axis. How do you find M and C? See where the line crosses the y-axis. M, the slope, sometimes needs some calculation, which is really equal to the change in y divided by the change in x, as is shown graphically here. Examples are good ways to embed the learning. Common exercises will give you some pieces of information about the line. How do you then complete the equation? Simply by plugging in the values given. Let us look at the first example. Find the equation of the straight line that has a slope of m equal to 4 and passes through the point -1 and -6. Before we move on, we must understand when 2 points are given in the way it has been given, the first number is always the x value, and the second number is always the y value. So in this case, we have x equal to -1 and y equal to -6. Please spend a few seconds trying to solve this equation. Let us look at the solution to this example. We know that the straight line equation is y equals mx plus c. We also know that y is equal to -6 and x is equal to -1. And we are also given m equal to 4. So we put these values into the equation and then solve for c. We find that c is equal to -2. Now that we know c, we must convert back to the straight line equation of y equals mx plus c. And therefore, in our example, y is equal to 4x minus 2. Let us look at another example. Find the equation of a line that passes through the points -2 and 4 and 1 and 2. Here we are given 2 points and no m or c. Spend some time trying to get the straight line equation for these 2 points. The solution. If you have 2 points given, you can find the slope. M equals negative 2 over 3. Now that I have the slope, I can find the equation by solving for c first. So I pick one of the points given, does not matter which one, and solve for c. As you will notice, I simply took one of the 2 points and substituted y and x, and put in the m that I just calculated above. And therefore, the straight line equation, which must be represented in the form of y equals mx plus c, is equal to y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 8 over 3.